Hello everyone. You've probably been wondering, how do I 3D print something from beginning to end? Well, I'm here to show you. Come here and look at the monitor.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to do when you want to 3D print something is you need a file that's 3D printable. Most likely it's going to be an STL file, but there's a lot of different 3D files. So a picture of something ain't going to work. You need actual physical, like a file that you can download that describes the object in 3D. And those tend to be STL files. You could draw it. In 10th grade, you actually do that in STEM Academy. Starting next year, we're going to be using Fusion 360 software. So it's free online if you want to go online and download it and play with it, watch some YouTube videos on how to make things in 3D. It's not too hard, actually. But that's if you want to make your own file. For right now, I'm just showing you that I can download a file from a place that someone else made. Someone else made all these. And I'm going to Thingiverse, and I looked up vase. I guess if you're fancy, you would call it a vase. But I found one here, and I'm downloading this because somebody said to print something like a flower pot or something. So that's one of the requests I got from like one of the last videos. So I click here, and the first thing you want to do is, if you like this and you want to print it, is you need to go down here. Usually the picture pops up. It's lagging a little bit, this website. It's not a very good website, but there it is. And here you can look at the different versions done in different colors. It shows the different files that the person uploaded. You can read about the different files the person uploaded. Usually they're different variations. They'll say, I did version 3. This one's slightly smaller. It fits better different types of printers and whatnot. This one prints better than this one. So you can read all about this stuff. And I would definitely go to your comment section and read those, and people will give you ideas. What you don't want to do is just flick here, go straight here and start downloading something, because you're going to go here and go, well, which one do I download here? So I read them, and it said that this one here, SOTVL thick, whatever, he said that this one worked well, and you don't have to do any weird settings. You just print it straight up. So I thought, okay, that's a cool one. So I clicked download. I did that already. Then you're going to want to go to your slicing software. So for this printer that's not even $300, it's like $260 on Amazon, $260. If you buy a big roll of filament with it, which I would, you're talking it costs like less than $300 probably for everything with tax and everything. Pretty good deal. And the slicing software is free. This is an open source software. If you're going to print on the white ones in my class, you would use Cube Pro software. If you're going to print on the other ones on the other side, the Airwolfs, you would use Apex software. This one we're going to use Cura. It's an open source software, and it actually is for a bunch of different printers. You just have to click and add the printer you have, so it like adjusts all the inside settings of the software, so it's ready for this one. This is a very popular printer because it's so cheap and prints so good. It's very popular, and definitely it's in here, So you have to add the printer. So you could actually have different printers here, and then choose which one you had. Like if you had 3 or 4 different types of printers. I just have the one. And of course, make sure you have the correct nozzle. I looked it up. That is the type of nozzle that is on there, because you can change the nozzle. That's where the plastic squeezes out of. I looked up what's the default nozzle because I didn't change the nozzle. So I'm like, whatever it came with, and it is that one. It's the 0.4 millimeter. And then what you want to do is you want to add the file onto the bed here. So you just click like one of these. There should be a folder somewhere, and then we're going to click this right here. And it should add it here. And when you click on it, it adds these different options on the side. The very first one, this one is for moving the object. And, if you move it too far somewhere, it might change color when you let go. It says this weird color. It means, in the end, that just means if you try to slice it right now, it won't let you. It's outside the print area. Also, I always try to move them away from the center, as I tell students all the time. Otherwise, the bed that it prints on gets worn out in that spot. You can move it a precisely amount of values right here. So I can say, no, negative 40, and it moved like a little tiny notch, and positive 30, so it adjusts exactly if you want. You can lock the model so that you don't accidentally move it. This next button right here is if you need to scale it. So if you want to change the size, like, oh, I want it 90% of that size. Let's say I laid it here and it was just too big and I couldn't print it, I'd need to scale it. Or you put it on here and it's like way too small. You're like, I want a bigger one. You can go 200% and it'll be twice as big. Make sure you keep this checked all the time. I couldn't think when you would ever want to uncheck this. This is uniform scaling. So if I change this one to 90%, they all change to 90% automatically. And that's the one you want to do it to. This one is for rotating, so you can grab this like wheel right here, this red one, and rotate it. And you have to like physically click on it and drag it, and you can move it and rotate it. I'm gonna Control Z. I don't want to do that because it's already laying in a nice way. But that might happen like if you lay it in there, it's laying weird. You're like, wait, I want it to lay flat down. So you can rotate this thing around. And if you think you got it laying flat, you can right click and move and double check that it's laying perfectly flat on the bed. You want that. If not, you can click this button, lay flat. If it's kind of like, man, I can't get it perfect, just click that, lay flat, and it'll lay down just a little bit for you. Mirror, I don't know why you would need it. The cookie cutter that I made earlier said it needed to be mirrored, and I don't even know why it needed to, but it's when you want to flip the image around the opposite direction. I don't know what the rest of these settings are. I'm kind of new to this, so I'm not sure. I won't even talk about that. Over here on this side, you can just do a preset setting, super quality, dynamic, just standard quality or low quality. Going up this way, it prints nicer and slower. This way, prints faster and less quality. But sometimes when you're just making something blocky or something, it doesn't really matter. You know, you could just print any of these settings anyway. I'm going to print this one in 0.2 millimeter. That's standard quality. So that means every layer it prints, every layer that it prints, layer by layer, so it prints a whole layer, then it prints another layer, and it prints another layer, and it takes a while because it prints only 0.2 millimeters every layer until it gets to the top. That's the quality. I have it at 0.2. And then shell, don't worry about that. Yeah, I would never adjust that setting. Just keep that stuff default. That's how thick the outer walls are of plastic. Don't even worry about it unless you're really getting like advanced. Infill, keep this around 10, 15, 20, 25%. I've never seen anybody recommend over 25%. When you have, like let's say you're building a box, it's not going to be pure solid plastic. It never is. What happens is it fills a lot of the inside with air. So if inside of these walls are kind of thick, let's say they're an inch thick, that's not an inch thick of plastic. It's like inside, if you cut it, you'll see it like shaped like little squares or diamonds. In fact, you can choose what they look like right here. Some of these are stronger than others, but they take longer, you know. So I've been using cubic and it comes out pretty well. So and it doesn't really affect the strength at all. You use less infill. Less infill means less plastic use. Prints faster, it's lighter, and it still usually works fine. You don't want to probably go less than 10%, but 15-20 seems to work really well. Material. This is where the printing temperature of your plastic is. PLA recommends between 190 and 220, something like that. I've been printing at 200 and 205. I haven't noticed any big difference between those two, so somewhere around there is fine. Then this is your temperature of the build plate. So the flat plate actually gets warm, and I think it's supposed to do a better bottom layer when you do that, or it sticks better. Turns out the plastic I'm using, PLA, doesn't even need it at all, but I heard it does print better when you have it at 50 or something like that. I think this particular printer can go up to 60 temperature. So those are important. But usually if you choose the plastic right up here somewhere, or no, right here, generic PLA, when you do that, all those settings automatically went in. So that's what I first did. I put generic PLA and I didn't change anything here, and it printed fine. I've been playing with this stuff a little bit, but honestly it prints fine if you just say generic PLA and all these settings are the way it is, and you just go generic PLA and then change this to whatever quality you want, you're done. You don't need to do all these things right here. These are just cool things that you can do that you can't do all this stuff in like Cube Pro software at school. So generate supports. Does this need supports? No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So I'm going to put don't generate supports. And that just all goes away, the questions about the supports. So I'll just close that. The rest of the stuff, build plate adhesion. If you're worried about this thing sticking to the plate, you can work on that here. I'm not too worried about that. Dual extrusion, we don't have that. That's when you have two different plastics, you know. We don't have that. So that's pretty much it. I click slice, and this is going to process, and I won't make you watch this whole thing, but what happens is it slices and slices and slices and plans out every layer. Then it plans out a toolpath, like how the thing should move over and over again. So that does take a while, especially on a complex piece like this. And this is probably the biggest thing I'm going to print, and it's probably going to take the longest that I've ever had. So let's see how long this takes. And it's it's about finished right now. So that's going to tell me how long it takes. It also tells you how much plastic it's going to take up too. So this is going to take up 38 meters of plastic, 114 grams of plastic. That's a lot of plastic. That sounds like a lot of plastic actually, but save to file. So at this point, I'm going to save to file, and I'll do the rest by camera. There we go. So the temperature is about to hit 205. You see, this one reached 40 and 40, 205, and now the actual temperature. This is where it's trying to get to. And this is the temperature it's at right now. It's almost there. Well, that got really clear. My camera's finally looking nice. There it goes. It's there. So it should start right now. There it goes. So this is the auto home sequence where it kind of zeroes itself out. It zeroes out on the limit switch there. Then this lowers down and it clicks right there. It should click. And then this one already clicked that way. So they're all ready to go. It's now trying to print, and Cura does this really cool thing where it tries to print this little stripe every time. And I think what that does is get the plastic flowing, and then it goes and does the vase. So there it goes. It's starting to draw that vase. And it's just, I like to always watch the first layer. I'm not going to do the whole video of the first layer, but I just want to make sure it's not hanging over or hitting that little line on the side that it made. There we go. So what it's going to print is always inside this first shape. Oh, and just ignore my son there. He's just excited because the dog just came in. All right. So I think this is it, guys. This is how we print from beginning to end. Not that bad. I mean, I think it was like 5 or 6 minutes, something like that. Not bad. So then it concludes week 1. And that's 1 week over, and then we got spring break next week, and then when I come back, I'll probably start doing videos once every 2 days, because it's like a lot of work, you know, editing, because you guys see all these really good edits I'm doing. It looks really good. Just kidding, I know it's pretty cheap, but anyway, it does take a lot of work. But I'll keep going on Google Classroom every day, and I'll also be commenting and stuff like that if you wanted questions on emails, stuff like that. And what I'll do is every other day you have a video, and every other day, on the other days I'll have like questions or something like that where you can I'll post different questions and you can put your opinion or something like that. And we'll keep it at that. Don't forget to do the OSHA approved thing. I'm working on trying to get it where I pay $25 per student, and I get like and you can do a little bit more hours and you get an OSHA card. Don't forget, these are really cool cards because these are OSHA safety cards. It's an organization. You go for a job, you bring that card to the job, you know, and show them, hey, when you apply, I have this OSHA safety card. Then it looks really good. I mean, compared to somebody else who doesn't, they're probably going to pick you because that means you've gone above and beyond someone else, and you actually done stuff, you know, rather than somebody just going, hey, I want a job, I don't have anything. You know, so it looks really good if you can do these. And then it makes this time that you're at school, you know, productive, or you're not at school, you're at home. It makes it more productive. You're like, you actually walk away with something useful later on. So I'll see you guys, not next week, because next week's spring break, and I'll see you the week after that, okay? Bye.